Hello everyone. Today our lesson is going to be on visual elements. Our standard is RL 5.7 and it says analyze how visual and multimedia elements contribute to the meaning, tone, or beauty of a text. Example, graphic novel, multimedia presentation of fiction, folktale, myth, or poem. The learning target is I will analyze how visual elements give a better understanding of the text. So you already know that pictures within a story create a mood or feeling in the story. Here's an example. Sam was snorkeling in Hawaii when suddenly he felt something move past him. He peeked over the edge of the water. Suddenly, he saw a shark's fin pass right by him. If you look at the picture, this picture in the story creates a mood of fear because the boy looks scared in the picture. So this picture is helping create a mood in the story. Here's another example. It is the night before Christmas and it is snowing. Matt is filled with anticipation. He can't wait until tomorrow. Matt sets out cookies for Santa. He looks out the window and suddenly he sees an amazing sight. So by looking at this picture, the picture in the story creates a mood of maybe excitement or he's anxious, he can't wait because he's sitting there and staring out of the window, waiting. So the definition of visual elements. Visual elements are things you can see that give you a better understanding of the text. So when you're reading something, the visual elements are the things that you can see that help you get a better understanding of the text. They can either be a drawing or a picture or a video. Those are the visual elements. Visual elements can give us a better understanding of the text. So I'm going to read the text to you first. The Crow and the Pitcher. A crow, half dead with thirst, came upon a pitcher which had once been full of water. When the crow puts its beak into the mouth of the pitcher, he found that only very little water was left, and that he could not reach far enough down to get at it. He tried and tried, but at last had to give up in despair. Then a thought came to him, and he took a pebble and dropped it into the pitcher. Then he took another pebble and dropped it into the pitcher. Then he took another pebble and dropped it into the pitcher. Then he took another pebble and dropped it into the pitcher. Then he took another pebble and dropped it into the pitcher. At last, he saw the water mount up near him. After casting in a few more pebbles, he was able to quench his thirst and save his life. Little by little does the trick. So now you can look at the visual elements, the pictures, and you can see that this visual element helps us understand how much longer the jar was than the bird's beak. So you can see that the jar was a lot longer than the beak. And then this visual element helps us understand how long it must have taken for the crow to put all those pebbles in the jar to make the water go up so he could finally get it. Visual elements can contribute to the beauty of the text. This picture helps visualize the beauty of the colors of the sky and the kite blowing in the wind. So this poem is called The Wind. I saw you toss the kites on high and blow the birds about the sky. And all around I heard you pass like lady skirts across the grass. O wind, it blowing all day long. O wind that sings so loud a song. And once again, you can look at this picture and it can help you see the beauty of the colors in the sky and the kite blowing in the wind. So it's important to be able to analyze how visual elements give a better understanding of the text because one, it may give you a better understanding of the setting, the plot, and the characters. And number two, it may make the reading experience more enjoyable. So the visual text helps you. So it's not just a bunch of words on a page. You can see pictures or different things that can help you visualize the text. Okay, so now we're gonna look at this story and we're gonna locate the key details in the text, identify the visual elements, and then explain how you have a better understanding of the text. So just by looking at the visual elements, we can probably guess that this story is going to be about an ant and a grasshopper. So the story is called The Ant and the Grasshopper. One summer's day, a grasshopper was hopping about, chirping and singing to its heart's content. An ant passed by, bearing along with great toil an ear of corn he was taking to the nest. Why not come and chat with me, said the grasshopper, instead of toiling and working in that way? I am helping to lay up food for the winter, said the ant, and recommend you to do the same. Why bother about winter? Asked the grasshopper. We've got plenty of food at present. But the ant went on its way and continued its toil. When the winter came, the grasshopper had no food and found itself dying of hunger, while it saw the ants distributing corn and grain from the stores they had collected in the summer. Then the grasshopper knew it is best to prepare for the day of necessity. So now we're going to identify the key details and the visual details in what we just read to get a better understanding. So some of the details were, why bother about winter, asked the grasshopper. We've got plenty of food at present. But then when the winter came, the grasshopper had no food and found itself dying of hunger. And the visual element details was the ant is obviously happy that he prepared ahead for the winter. The grasshopper appears to be really worried he didn't lay up food for the winter and he's cold. And you can see that in these pictures. Because in this picture, while the ant was preparing and getting his food, the grasshopper was just going on with what he was doing. But then when winter came, the ant had food and the grasshopper had nothing. So to get a better understanding, these pictures help me to better understand that the ant was happy with the decision he made to prepare for the winter, and the grasshopper regrets not preparing when he had the chance. So in the story, the grasshopper states, why bother about winter? We've got plenty of food at present. The ant disagrees with this thought and continues to gather food. The pictures show that when winter comes, the ant is obviously happy that he prepared ahead for winter. The text states, when the winter came, the grasshopper had no food and found itself dying of hunger. The picture of the grasshopper also makes him appear worried and cold. The pictures in the text work together to show that the ant was happy with his decision and the grasshopper regrets not preparing for winter when he had the chance. So now we're going to look at some visual elements and tone. This learning target is I will analyze how text and visual elements work together to contribute to the tone of the text. So what is tone? Tone is the author's attitude towards a subject. An author's attitude could be approving or disapproving. Tone, the author's attitude towards a subject. An author's tone can also be loving, cheerful, angry, compassionate, critical, sad, worried, or frustrated. So tone can be revealed in the author's choice of words. So you can pick up on the author's tone by the words they use in the text. Sam's responsible older brother, Jake, was watching him while his parents were out. Jake asked Sam nicely to do his homework. Sam yelled, I can't hear you. Then Sam threatened to lie to his mom and tell her Jake had been mean to him. So some clue words that show the author is expressing a disapproving and frustrated tone towards Sam was Sam yelled and threatened, and Jake was responsible and nicely. The visual elements that show the author is expressing a disapproving and frustrated tone towards Sam. So you can see in Sam's picture shows he is frowning and he is acting rude by putting his fingers in his ears so he doesn't have to listen. So you can see the tone can be revealed with the visual elements. You can figure out the tone of the story just by looking at some of the visual elements. So it is important to be able to analyze how text and visual elements work together to contribute to the tone of the text because, one, if you understand the attitude of the author, you may better understand the text you are reading. And two, if you understand the attitude of the author, you may better understand how visuals contribute to the meaning of the text. So here's your exit ticket. So after you watch this recording, you can either email it or send it through Class Dojo. I want you to tell me what is the definition of what are visual elements. If you could just tell me what are visual elements, you will receive credit for today. Hope you enjoyed this lesson, and thank you.